Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater podcast. I am your host, John. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, and the cmsnetwork.com. We are live right here at those four locations every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to catch video replays of the show, tune into Heavy Metal Television or just go to our YouTube channel. And if you would like to find the audio version of the podcast, just Google Talking into Infinity, and we're on any number of awesome audio platforms. So check us out there too if you want to listen to us in the car or at work or something like that. Let me bring on my excellent friend and co-host, Brian. Here we are, man. Another 2 weeks have gone by, and here we are bullshitting about Dream Theater yet again.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's December. Happy holidays, everyone. Now I have a question for you. Now we started this a couple years ago. We actually put our tree up the week before Thanksgiving. I used to hate those kind of people, but now I'm like, you know what, man? It's only up for like, a month and a half out of the year. Like, why the hell not? Just put it up early, enjoy it.
Right.
I don't know, especially because, like, I don't know how it is for you. I absolutely hate this time change crap. We get that extra hour of sleep, but then it's like, dude, it's like it's dark at 5 o'clock. It's completely dark. So like by 7:30, I'm thinking it's like 10 almost every night. It's like totally drains you. So I like having the Christmas tree and the lights up and everything, and kind of cheers things up.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me. The only thing it takes me a little bit to get used to at work, because for the first week and a half after the time change, I'm looking outside like when I'm ready to leave at like 4:35. I'm like, damn, is it raining? Is it storming? Like, oh no, it's getting dark. Okay. So it is darker, and it is the holiday season, and we're getting real close to some really cool stuff. I just about have our December 16th episode on lockdown. We're going to have Monty Colvin from the Galactic Cowboys on to talk about their tour with Dream Theater for the Images and Words record. And we are going to follow that up the same night with our Images and Words deep dive. So that'll be our next episode in 2 weeks on December 16th. And then obviously we're doing our big fan hangout on December 23rd. So if you guys want to jump on camera with us, just send us an email at talkingintoinfinity@gmail.com. And any of you guys that want to come on, just have a free-for-all chat about Dream Theater, whatever you guys want to talk about, music and stuff like that. We're just going to hang out and get you guys on camera. So that is what we have coming up here pretty soon.
And then we're less than 2.5 months partly from our show, right? February, what is it?
It's February 23rd.
Okay. We're starting the 2-month countdown coming up here.
Yep. It's 3 days before my birthday, so that'll be
nice.
Very, very cool. So Nick Brayman's tuning in. What's up, Nick? Good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out. We got our buddy, obviously, Puzziani is here. So there's my buddy Puzziani. Puzziani, you're gonna like it because I actually have an Italian reference in my notes tonight that I think you're the only one we'll get. So that'll be good. And of course, our buddy Kale McLeish, he was number one in the chat tonight. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. So we got our usual suspects here tonight, which is always fun. So so this is going to be a little difficult tonight. As we said in the show notes, we've already ranked the album openers, and now tonight we are going to do the album closers. And I had a really hard time with this one. You and I were talking off air, and you had the same problem I did. You said you changed your list like 3 times. I changed mine 3 times today.
Well, I basically did mine today. I mean, full disclosure. No, I mean, I knew what, I knew a rough order of what I wanted, but then I kind of got into it and I started listening to a couple songs again. And I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know about this. So I'm real curious to see how we compare, considering we both think we know each other. So how this is going to go.
I know it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm wondering if we have the same number one. I would actually put money on the fact that we might have the same number one, which we'll see.
Huh.
But Puziani says he's going to keep an evil eye out for the Italian reference. Is the Malloy?
That's a Dio reference right there.
There
Evil
it
eye.
is.
It's
Nice.
also a Malmsteen reference too.
Oh, that's hilarious. So, all right. So Kale says he's doing his list live, except for his bottom, which he keeps flip-flopping my 14th and 13th. So I might have to do a tie. There are no ties allowed. Otherwise, I'd have probably like a 5 or 6 way tie in mine.
Yeah.
So
don't be using Australian math on us.
Yeah.
We're bad enough at American math.
yeah, right.
So I have a question. Quick, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're
So
okay.
when you were doing this, I was kind of trying to sort of approach it also from like, okay, does this song kind of really, really complete the album? And if it did, it sort of gets maybe some bonus points. Or no? Did
No,
you do that or no?
You know what? It's so funny you mentioned that because I was going to ask you the exact same question, because what I ran into was I found that the album opening rankings, it was more of a favorite song type of a thing, but it also a little bit did it set up the record. But this one, I kind of went into it with the same thing, but then as I was listening, that's why I changed so many times, because it really was like, okay, I like this song better than this one, but then some of them I bumped up ahead of, like there are songs that I like less than another one that I ranked higher because it closed the album better. So I did exactly that. And it literally was as I kept listening to the songs more and more, that's kind of what drove my rankings. It was like I kind of would start feeling it like, man, this is just a cooler way to close the record, even though I would rather listen to this other song.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know if I have. Well, I may on a couple spots, but for the most part, I still think it's probably songs I prefer. But I still did, kind of what you're saying also. So I don't know. We'll see. There was crazy. I had one where I'm like, man, I really overvalued what I thought this song was, and I'm sure I can't wait to get to, because I'm gonna get absolutely murdered on this podcast, I'm sure.
I had one that I totally overrated when I finally listened. I was like, wow. So I bumped one down a few spots today. It took a pretty heavy hit. So it'll be like, and again, like as much I said, I'm wondering if we have the same number one. I'm wondering if we could guess each other's. Why don't we start it out? Okay.
Let's write down. All right, let's do this. Let's write down what we think the other person's top 3 are real quick.
Top 3. All right. Well, because I have a spreadsheet here that has mine on it. And I'm going to fill yours in as we go. All right. I'm going to say this one. This is Riveting Radio.
I mean, yours. Yeah, exactly. Hey, guys, can you listen to us write stuff down?
Yeah. All right. So I've got 2. Let me think. This is going to be
now that I did this, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I know which ones I'm not going to pick.
You know what? Oh, I'm going to put this one up there for you.
Okay. All right.
And then one's the Captain Obvious for you. That no one.
Yeah.
Even Kale knows that one.
All right. So I have my 3, and if one of us, like, let's say I call out a song and it's in your top 3, we got to say, oh, damn, it's off my list or whatever. So,
okay.
All right, so I'm going to go first. So what do you think that my last place song would be? So this is number 15. We're going to go bottom to top. What do you think my last place song would be?
Oh, man, for you, this is really damn hard. No, it's easy. Illumination Theory.
Oh, and he's wrong. He's wrong. No, my last place song, speaking of getting killed on the podcast, Beneath the Surface.
Wow.
I know every time I bring something up, you're like, you hate that record. Yep. Joe Gebhardt. Joe Gebhardt is right along with me. Good to see you, buddy. Yep. Beneath the Surface. Man. Yeah, I think this one suffers from the fact that the album did not close with Breaking All Illusions. you get done with that song and then you hear water dripping in this mellow song. I'm like, what is this anticlimactic stuff? Like, I would have put it before Breaking All Illusions, or someplace else.
When you approach it from that angle, I can't argue with you from that angle.
I couldn't. Breaking All Illusions is such an. I mean, they ended their the main part of their sets with that song, so it's like that perfect album closer, and yet they closed it with Beneath the Surface. I was like, what the hell? So
I guess I forgot to even look at it from that way, even though I said I did on the others because I love that album too much.
Yeah, right. By the way, Kale is ranking number 14 here. Kale, there are 15 songs, my friend, so you're missing one.
I told you it's that Australian math.
Yeah, it's Australian math, Yeah. Nick Brayman, he says, I agree. Should end with Breaking All Illusions. All right. So that's my last place. I'm going to guess your last place. And it's probably an obvious one, but I'm wondering if you didn't go the obvious route. I am saying that your last place is Space Dive Vest.
You would be wrong.
All right. What is it?
I'm actually picking a song for the same reason you did. I picked Viper King.
Oh.
Because Pale Blue Dot, love that song.
Yeah.
And it's almost the same thing. And we had this discussion about, is this a bonus track, whatever. Well, it's on every version of the album as far as I know, or I think we discovered.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's there's nothing wrong with the song, but in ranking it in here, it's just it's kind of got that 80s riff, lyrically it's pretty hokey. We finally figured out it's about a car, so,
yeah, right.
So yeah, I put that last. It's just a goofy song for that album in general. I don't mind it, per se, but I ended up deciding to put it last.
Okay. I obviously have Viper King higher than you do. I like that song. I'm a fan of it. However, I do agree with you that, I think closing with Pale Blue Dot would have been better. That's why, you and I both had the same idea. Like, you asked me what I was going to ask you. Like, are we counting Viper King as the final track, even though it's listed as a bonus? We both went with Viper King as the closer. So, I mean, I would have had Pale Blue Dot higher, I think, than where I have Viper King.
Oh, yeah. I'd have it way up there.
But
way up there.
So, Kale McLeish wants to know, 15, what did I miss? Oh, I don't know. The View from a Top of the World record? Hashtag DT15 we were doing for months, Kale? Come on, man. How'd you miss that? Or are you not counting When Dream and Day Unite? I wonder. It's one of those, man.
I told you, those Australians and their math.
Kale's like, 6 degrees of inner turbulence. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're counting in an Australian, it would be 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, wait, that's Austrian. Oh, that's German.
Greg Dundor is not going to like the rest of this show, and he's about to get banned. Good to see you, man. He says 15 is easily only a matter of time. Ooh. Well, that's only a matter of opinion, my friend.
Only a matter of time before you're banned.
Yeah, right. And Joe Gebhardt, little fan on fan hate. There's 15 studio albums. You do know that, right? You deserve that one, Kale. One shot. All right, so back on track here. So my second least favorite album closer. Again, Brian, I don't think this is any surprise. Do you want to guess this one?
Yeah,
you already guessed it, so.
Oh, I did? Go ahead then.
Yeah, so it's Illumination Theory.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Yeah, Illumination Theory is my second least favorite album closing song. I am not a fan of this one. It's obviously when we rank the epic songs, or go through the self-titled record deep dive. I mean, I'm giving away future content, but I am not a fan of this song. It's always sounded disjointed to me. It's not cohesive to my ears anyway, and I don't know. And I suppose it makes a cool album closer, but because I dislike the song a lot, I put it as my second least favorite. So,
so how do we want to do this? Should I comment on yours rather than comment on mine later when it comes up, or we didn't work this out?
No, if you have a comment, sure. Otherwise, just go into yours.
Yeah, no, I this song has kind of grown on me a bit. Now, I I would say love, but the first 6-7 minutes I'm okay with. I like the orchestral beginning. I'm okay with the vocals and stuff in the beginning. But then you get like that I don't know, a couple minutes of just kind of nothing going on. And then I don't like it again until that really cool vocal part he does that I brought up on our James vocal shows.
Yeah.
So there's like 7 minutes of maybe 8.5 minutes total of 22 or whatever that I like. This song has grown on me a little bit, so I'm not as down as you are. My 14 was obvious, was Space Divest.
Cale McLeish agrees with you, man.
Yeah, I think if I didn't know what the song was about, it wouldn't annoy me as much. But even listening to it, I don't know. The sound of it. There's a couple little keyboard things he does I like, and it's some of the sounds are kind of okay, but it's too quirky. Too quirky. It just, I don't know. It's a goofy song. That I've said that 8 million times. And on a list like this, it would have been easy to put it last, but I actually did give it a little bit of credit. I put it, next to last.
Nice. Yeah, I have obviously strong feelings about that song if you've watched the show or listened to the show at all. So obviously it's higher for me. We'll obviously disagree with that. Cale's with you, man. He says, you want to talk anticlimax? Let's put something after the culmination of everything that Awake is. And that's a piano ballad where James doesn't put in his strongest effort vocally. I see. Here's the thing, Cale, like you and even you, Brian, like people are like so up on Scarred, but even that, if you left Scarred as the album closer for Awake, I wouldn't think that's a strong album closer for Awake. So
I would agree on that.
Yeah. So, Greg Dundor, The Astonishing. Well, so Astonishing is his number 14 spot. Okay. That is going to be an interesting one for me. It is not, the greatest, but it is in my number 13 spot. So that's one that I dropped several spots today. I love that record, but, just like Beneath the Surface, I thought that there was other stuff that was way more majestic on that record. It sounded much more of a big closing kind of a vibe. And that song just, it felt like they were rushing to the end of it. Whereas a lot of the other closers on this list, they were kind of drawn out for the live effect, on stage and whatnot. And that one just was not. So
I disagree. I think it's a solid ending to the album. It's not overly long, which that part I like about it. Because you've already been bombarded by borderline 2 hours or 2+ hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the fact that it's not super long. I think it gets to the point and wraps it up.
Okay, all right. So what is your
okay? This is where I get annihilated.
Oh boy.
I put Presence of Enemies Part 2.
What? Oh, there goes one of my top 3. Wow.
Oh man, this one I really over. My favorite part of this song is the last 3.5 to 4 minutes where we hear all of the parts from Presence of Enemies.
From part 1, yeah.
1. So, and I am not going to be on this bandwagon that this is all one song. That's just complete total nonsense. There's no way this could have ever been one song. I don't.
Have you ever listened to it back to back?
I didn't do that, no, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't buy it.
Well, if you haven't listened to it back to back, how can you make that assessment?
I don't know.
Man, no. Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah,
I would never have. I thought that you loved it. Okay, now that I know you haven't listened to it as a whole complete piece, that would make sense. I thought you had done that, so I literally thought you were going to put that in your top 3.
No, I don't know. I don't. It's heavy, and I don't know those vocal growling parts or whatever. I think it's kind of silly. It sort of gets silly and almost to a point.
Yeah. Oh, Joe Gebhardt has an interesting point here, going back to Space Divest. Sorry to go backwards a little bit. He says, if they could have put it on the album in place of Space Divest, To Live Forever would have done well. I love To Live Forever, Joe. I absolutely love that song. I don't know that song would have fit on Awake at all, though. That's much more of an Images and Words, or
that's what I'd say.
Octavarium, or even something like maybe, I don't know, Falling Into Infinity. Awake, I think, is too dark for that song. But I mean, it's an interesting point. Wow, man, In the Presence of Enemies Part 2. That's crazy. All right, well that's going to make our deep dive into that record much more interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, moving on. So, my number 12 is A View from the Top of the World. And this one, I pretty much have it down this far, I think because I'm not really familiar with it yet. So it's kind of like a recency bias, I suppose. I kind of liken it to on my Star Wars show. We ranked the live action movies really soon after The Rise of Skywalker came out, and I really liked The Rise of Skywalker. So go ahead and crap on me for that if you guys don't. A lot of people don't, but I had it way down my list because I just hadn't seen it nearly as many times as I have the other movies. So it wasn't reflective of the fact that, oh, this movie sucks. Like, it was just I wasn't familiar with it like I was the other stuff, and I think that's what happened with this one. I know that I like it better than In the Presence of Enemies. Or excuse me, Illumination Theory. But to say that I'm familiar with it enough to really like make a fair assessment of it against, the rest of these, I think it wouldn't be a fair comment. I will say, just strictly as an album closer, knowing it a little bit, I think it's a better album closer than the ones I had before it.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to save this till the end, but maybe I'll just go ahead and say it now. Like, this was the hardest song for me to rank. And I kind of didn't want to like just go listen to it like 3 million times, either. So I put it on a couple times, and then in my rotation of the other ones. This was the hardest. There was 2 songs that were really hard to rank. This was the hardest one for me by far. Okay. I actually have at 12 Illumination Theory.
Okay, you won't get any arguments from me there. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be a. Even though there's some parts of it I said I like now, it's it's definitely the bottom of the barrel here.
Did you have it like I had it? Like I have this ceiling, where it starts to become really difficult for me. Like, I've kind of got like the B sides and then the A sides almost, and I think what I say, like number 8 or something, I think I said, is where mine starts to get really difficult.
Well, it's hard because, like we said, something's got to be last and something's got to be 12th and whatever. So
yeah,
that's just how it is, no matter what,
Right. Yeah. So Greg Dundor says he's got Viper King at 13 and Space Divest at 12. Good songs, just not as good as others. Joe Gebhardt, he says, I've only heard the recording of To Live Forever from the Greatest Hit album, which has the Awake sounding production. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that version is from the Atco demos, which is actually the samples and everything, pretty much the exact production they used for Images and Words. So maybe that's why I feel like it fits on that record a little better. Kale, he says his number 12 is Astonishing. Oh, hey, son, you killed our daughter for 15 minutes there, but all good. We forgive you. The wrap up to the story is poor, extremely poor. Yeah, he says it. For me, Our New World and Power Down felt right as a better ending, even if there's no closure for Xander and the Nefarious family. Yeah, I mean, Our New World's a great song. I mean, I would have definitely preferred that, I think. But, all right, so moving on. My number 11. It starts to get this is where it gets a little more difficult, I would say. But I have In the Name of God in the number 11 spot. And that one, for me, I like it. It's a great song. But I think I don't have it higher because the ones that I have ahead of it just work better in that closing spot. To me, this is, it grooves, it's heavy, it's kick-ass. I'm a fan of this song. It's great. But I think that it's just like a longer version of the stuff that came before it. Whereas I think things that are coming up on both of our lists kind of encapsulate those records a little better than In the Name of God did.
Yeah, we talked before about how brutal and heavy and crushing that whole album is. Other than what Vacant or whatever, but
Yeah.
you get to that last song there, and you've been pretty well pummeled to death. So I think you got it in a good spot.
Yeah.
Um, I the thing I love about that song, I love kind of that middle part where it's like that Middle Eastern groove, where it's like a combination of like it's like
Yeah.
Santana, Rusted Root, like the Doors almost, the end or
Right.
whatever, like the bass part, and then when he goes into that, it's like Flight of the Bumblebee, basically on the guitar. It's
Yeah.
like no human should be able to play guitar that fast, like.
That was
So
so cool.
yeah, it's got those awesome little parts like that that kind of sort of save it from just being a big giant basher. It's got that cool, neat stuff in the middle and the end. And that's a song that I definitely have a new appreciation for after we did our deep dive.
Sure. Our buddy Chris Minnick is hopefully I pronounced that right, Minnick. Is checking in. What's up, man? Good to see you. He says, hey guys. Greg Dundor, in the name of God, he says, well, there goes my number 2. That is
Wow.
way high.
Wow,
That's really high for that. That's wow. All right. That's an interesting take. All right.
so my number 11 will probably surprise you.
Okay.
I picked Closing Time because first of all, it's a ripoff of that Semisonic song. Closing Time Finale off of 6 Degrees of
It's such an ass.
Sorry, that's Losing
Oh, my
Time.
God.
Losing Time Finale. Sorry, I'm not good at pronunciating words sometimes.
Wow. You have that one down there?
So yeah, you know what? The thing about that song was I put it on. I'm like, I like the song, but it's 5 minutes, but it's really only like 4 because it's about an hour. It's about a minute and a half fade out, and I'm like, is it that satisfying of an ending to the concept and the album and that? I don't know. It that was one that I told you really surprised me, where because I had it up a lot higher, and then I listened to it again, and I'm like, I don't know, I better move this down. So that's why I moved it down.
Man, yeah, I like that song. I think it's a great closing, salvo for that. If not just the second disc, the 6 Degree Sweep, but the whole record. I think it's awesome. I really like that
I don't.
one.
It's not that I dislike it. It's just I don't know. I just feel like it. For when I was listening to the rest of the stuff, I'm like I don't know. I couldn't put it ahead of that, so it sits there at number 11.
Okay. Look at this. Nick Brayman has In the Name of God as his number 1. Wow. We have some hot takes in here tonight.
Yeah.
Some hot takes in the chat.
That would not be. I mean, I could see some people who love that album maybe putting it in the top 5, but I don't know about number 1. That's
Wow. Number
what,
1.
That's what makes the show cool. So,
All right. Well, so Greg Dundor, he says, to be frank, I ranked more on how much I like the song and not as much on quality of album ender. So yeah, that's oh, look at this. Here we go. Our buddy Adam Rishog is just checking in for a quick second. He says, hey guys, I can't watch live because I'm working, but had to put my 2 cents in. My number 1 closer has to be Octavarium. You know my love for that song. Not only is it their best epic, that song closing a set would be a dream come true. Good to see you for a second, man. Hope to see you in a couple weeks here or on the 23rd. And I don't think Brian or I are surprised that Octavarium's your number 1. If I would have had to have guessed yours, that would have been it.
yeah.
So, all righty. We do have a quick question here. Chris Minnick, shouldn't 6 Degrees be one full track? No, we actually took it because they do break it into like parts. So,
unless we're doing a draft, then you're allowed to take it as one full track.
Oh, shut up.
Which Adam did.
Yes, he did. All right, so my number 10, I have Scene 9 Finally Free. Love the record, but I think as a closer, I think there were better melodies and pieces to close with on that album. Some things were just bigger and stand out more, and I don't think that one, it kind of encapsulates the record pretty well. I do like the part in the middle with the shooting. That's really brooding and dark, and the do with like the church bells on it and stuff like that, and it's heavy, and So I like that part of it, but there were other songs that I thought, closed a record in better fashion than that one.
I'm gonna save my comments for when I pick that one.
Okay.
I have it. We're at 10, right?
Yes.
Name of God.
Okay.
So that one kind of surprised me that I had it that high, which I guess is not that high, but I don't know. I originally had it lower, so
it's one ahead of mine.
yeah.
So...
we were in the same neighborhood on that one.
Yeah. I mean, right now you've only really gotten far away from a couple of mine, so we're somewhat in agreement, I would say. So,
I think my number 9 is gonna blow your mind here.
Okay. Well, Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I've got Matter of Time.
That is not surprising to me.
No?
No. Well, you don't like that record very much.
Well, no, I just thought you would think that I would have had it lower to begin with.
Actually, I did. I really thought you would have had that one lower.
Yeah.
I really did.
No, the more I listen, especially what I've said before, I like that song because it's a real window into what's coming from images and words, especially when you get towards the end of it. It really sets up like, wow, this is where this is going to end up going. And you could totally tell when you listen, especially when you listen to like the live version, because James singing it, and then James, of course, goes on to sing, for the band for every other album since. But
right.
But yeah, I put it in there. I thought, you know what, I better give this a little more credit than I have in the past. So I got it number 9.
Okay. All right. My number 9 is Viper King. I had that up there. I love it. And this is right before it starts getting really difficult for me. And the thing about Viper King for me is that I really, really love that song. But again, it is a bonus track, if it's indeed a bonus track, as we've discussed previously. We think they just did a joke and called it Viper King parentheses bonus track, but
right.
Yeah, I think Pale Blue Dot makes a much better album closer, I would say. But in terms of the songs that I think didn't close the albums in a strong fashion, Viper King is probably my favorite of them. I just love that Deep Purple type of vein to it, and it's got a really cool groove that they haven't really done on other songs, and it's just interesting. It's very interesting for me, so I really dig that one. All right, your number 8.
I got The Astonishing here.
Okay. Well, we were far apart on that one.
Yeah. It's weird. That one sort of moved. At one point it was lower, then it was higher, and then I was like, let me just stick this sucker like literally right in the middle, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, I already commented on it. I think it. If I was to do this again, it probably should be lower. In all honesty. But
are you changing your list live now?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I would swap. I should probably swap that out with Name of God. I would probably put Name of God up there now that I'm thinking about it. I'd swap those two.
All right. Well, wow, The Astonishing right there. Okay. My number 8. So you got me all discombobulated because you skipped me on one turn, so now we're going backwards.
Sorry.
My number 8, this one may surprise you that this is down this low, is The Count of Tuscany. And again, number 8 is where mine started getting really difficult. I absolutely love this song. You and I are on record, both of us saying that we love it, and as much as I love it, you love it more than I do. This is where it started getting really tough. I just think that the ones that come after it, at least in my opinion, for my tastes, worked better as album closers. This to me was just another great song. It wasn't like, it tied the record together in a certain fashion. It was just, hey, here's, we open with, Nightmare to Remember, and then we close with The Count of Tuscany. You're like, oh, that's cool. But it didn't have that closer vibe like I think, the stuff that I have coming after this have, or have, whatever I'm trying to say. My grammar's all over the map tonight. But yeah, so My number 8, The Count of Tuscany.
I agree about the statement about closing an album. We when we did our deep dive, I think I don't know if we were in agreement, but I thought Black Clouds is fairly disjointed, track to track.
Right.
So you having it there is probably a little lower than I thought you would, but I'm not shocked.
Right.
That's where I decided to put it number 7. I put View from the Top.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, I listened to it a couple more times, and I'm like, man, I love the orchestration in the beginning and stuff. And I guess my dog does too. I don't know if you can hear him. He's going crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I like the only thing think I don't like so much is the actual chorus. Like I think like melodically, it's a little bit weak. But I love all the guitar stuff that's going on, and I think this is one of those songs that's going to end up being like, not to the degree of Count of Tuscany is for me, but it's going to move up there. It will end up moving up on my list probably like 3 years from now or something.
Okay. Greg Dundor says that full 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence would have been number 3 for me. If we didn't take it track by track, if we just literally used
What's your best full side of an album?
Yeah, exactly. Would you have ranked the entire piece higher than you did the Losing Time grand finale?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, not even close.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would have too.
Yeah.
So I guess, and now here's a question for a future episode. So I guess that would mean that we have to include 6 Degrees as one song for our if we get into ranking like the epics. I never thought of that for some reason, so I guess that answers our question.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. All right. So your number 7 is A View from the Top of the World. Okay. My number 7 is In the Presence of Enemies Part 2. I think it's great. I've always been a fan of that. I love, again, when you listen to it all as one piece, Brian, that really dark, sinister stuff kind of, it really is one of those typical Dream Theater left turns. But I can see where you would think it's kind of wonky on its own, considering it as a separate song.
Yeah.
I think Systematic Chaos is a pretty eclectic record, and this is the most eclectic song on that record. And one of the reasons I ranked it as high as I did is because I think it bookends the record perfectly, and it ties the whole thing together, because the stuff that comes in between parts 1 and 2, all the songs in the middle, there is a really diverse collection of stuff. Maybe even more so than on any other record they've done. When you're talking about Repentance going up against like Dark Eternal Night, everything in the middle is like, what in the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then when you get into In the Presence of Enemies Part 2, and then like you said, when it gets into the end and goes back to the beginning of the record and the opening parts of it, it just ties it up in one neat little package. And so I wouldn't say that this is one that ends all majestic like the other ones that I have coming after this do, but it ties everything together so nicely that I thought it really worked as a closer. Obviously you didn't, because you have it way down your list, but
yeah, I ended up going with Beneath the Surface at 6.
Wow.
I love that song. I think his vocals are amazing on that, and it's a simple, and I don't know. I understand what you're saying about how can you put it after breaking all illusions, but I got used to, like, when I first started working, well, I hadn't first started been there, but when that album first came out, I listened to it all the time at work. I mean, literally like every day I listened to it like 4 times, front to back, front to back. And I just got used to like, oh, okay, well, here comes Beneath the Surface. And I just love the acoustic guitar on that. I love the synthesizer, the Moog leads, it's basically, it's Lucky Man by ELP. I mean, that's not like a Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's not like a revelation, but that's kind of what they did with that song.
Okay.
But
right.
But yeah, I think it's a really cool song.
Yeah, like I already had it, in last place for me, so we know my my thoughts.
No, I mean, I knew you'd have it pretty far down there. So
that's a pretty big jump. You have it at 6, I have it at 15. That's pretty crazy, man.
Greg Dundor says, "Fight me."
Yeah, Hey, there will be no fighting here.
Right.
Only taking shots at Kale when he doesn't remember that there's 15 Dream Theater records. Oh my God! Look at Kale. Oh, here's another hot take. His number 6 is Octavarium. He says, "Oof, I'm getting crucified for this." Yeah, this is not a good show for you, Kale. I don't know. It has to go somewhere. There's just others I kind of like more. Man. All right.
I don't think that's that bad.
I do, but okay. All right. So my number 6. Hopefully Puziani is still tuned in. Here we go. Space Dive Vest at number 6. And again, my note on this one just says, "Bring on the hate, assholes."
Yeah. You can't. There's no defending this. You're just spewing.
Oh,
words.
yes, there
You're
is.
just spewing words at that point.
No, this is for my buddy Puziani.
Words.
He'll understand this. So to me, this is like, there's this Italian liqueur called limoncello, and you can get it in the stores, but it's not the actual stuff.
I know
the actual stuff. You can make it with vodka, but you also make it with 190 proof Everclear, and it basically, and that's the way that I do it. That's the way that I was taught to do it, and it's basically like frozen lemonade, but it's ungodly strong, and it's an after dinner drink, and you basically take it in little, like, almost like a shot glass in a way, and you sip it. It's just like a post-dinner thing. And Space Dive Vest to me is like a small, chilled, delicious limoncello after a huge Italian meal, the huge Italian meal being awake, and Space Dive Vest being the limoncello. Like, that is just what it is like for me. It's like you sit back after this awesome experience, and then you just kind of are relaxing for a little bit at the very end. Like, I love it. It's definitely weird, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, but for some reason, I have always loved that as a closer, which I never thought I would ever like a mellow song as a closing song on pretty much any band's album. And there really aren't many, but this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I'll say it's more like, have you ever heard of a gorilla fart? It's like Jaeger 151. And it's a legit drink. It's like the most disgusting drink ever. It's Jaeger 151, and I think it's like tequila or something. But that's what it's called. It's called a gorilla fart. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I remember playing this bar one time, and this guy's like, "Yeah, we're all gonna drink this. Have a gorilla fart," and I'm like,
Oh,
what is it?
God.
And then he described what it was, and I'm like, oh God, and I drank it anyway, and I'm like, I just wanted to die. So disgusting.
So what is it? 151 Jaeger and tequila?
I don't know. I can't remember what the third one is. I'll have to Google it. But yeah, it's awful, man.
The next time we hang out, I'm buying one of each of those. I'm just like, you have to drink this, but instead we're gonna call it a Space Dive Fest.
There you go.
Oh my God, that is hilarious, man. Wow. A gorilla fart. That's funny. All right. So what do you have at number 5?
So number 5, this is why thought Kale was okay. I actually put Octavarium there at 5.
Oh. All right. Wow.
It's still in the top third, at 5.
Okay. I thought that is not in my top 3 for you, but I thought you would have had it higher.
No, it's a great
well, actually, that means I thought you would have had it at number 4 since we're at number 5.
Yeah. I thought you would have had it in the top 4.
Yeah. Oh, it's our buddy JG3. What's up, man? Good to see you, bud. Thanks for hanging out. We are at number 5 right now, so you didn't miss all of it, just 2/3.
Yeah, just the first 9, according to Kale.
You missed the explanation of what a gorilla fart is, so you missed that one. So, anyways, back to your Octavarium. Explanation.
I mean, it's a big, giant, pompous, huge, masterpiece. I don't know. Is it really an album closer? It's almost like its own separate. Sort of similar to what you were saying about Count of Tuscany, I feel.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right? Because, I mean, this isn't. If this is vinyl, this isn't the entire second side, is it, or no?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm not sure because Sacrifice Sons. And then, God, what's the song?
It's so weird anymore because, I grew up in the age of vinyl, side 1, side 2, and then we're talking about what's the last song on the album. You would have to flip the album.
I would think there might be 2 songs
or flip the tape. So I'll use your Count of Tuscany kind of logic, and explanation on this, and that's kind of why I have it down a little bit farther.
Chris Minnick says Octavarium at 5. Now that's a gorilla fart.
We'll call it an Octavarium or a Space Divest. No, we would have to call it a Space Divest because this is too good of a song.
Yeah, this is going to be the joke that never dies on our show, gorilla fart. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Well, for Caleb, be an Australian gorilla fart because he's got it at 6.
Yeah, right? Sarcasmo S. Holio says that his is learning to live.
Who is that?
I love our show.
Oh,
man.
my God.
Oh, my God, that's fantastic. Now, Sarcasmo, are you saying this is your number 5 or is that your number 1? We got to clarify there. So, all right.
Sarcasm.
That's funny. All right, so my number 5 is Losing Time Grand Finale. I think this one for me is definitely, I love it as an ending to the 6 Degrees Suite. It's basically what I would have hoped that, scene 9, Finally Free, would have been. When the first time I ever heard this record, I was like, this is such a gigantic ending to this whole thing. And again, as I said earlier, I don't think it's just a great ending to, the 6 Degrees Suite. I think it's a great ending to the whole record. And on this one, I do have to admit, I wonder if it's a little bit of score bias again, because I did see this at Score and it was phenomenal. But it's also, this is what they closed the regular portion of the 6 Degrees tour with in the second set. And I saw that show at the Vic in Chicago. It was the first time I'd ever seen him out of town. So I wonder if maybe maybe it's a little bit of an emotional connection to this. There's not much to the song, admittedly, but the vibe of it and just the emotion of it, I think, is a perfect bookmark to 6 Degrees.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. I know how much you love this album front to back. I guess with this one, I went more with what songs do I like more, and there's a lot of songs I like more than this one. It doesn't mean I discredit that album, that's for sure.
Okay. So Sarcasmo Assholio has clarified that his number 1 is Learning to Live. Well, you might be in luck because neither Brian nor I have selected Learning to Live yet. So there we go. Cale McLeish, he says Trial of Tears is his number 4. Shout out to Grant for having this at number 1. Yeah, real quick side note. Cale hit me up and he actually he asked us about Viper King as well, whether or not we're doing Viper King or Pale Blue Dot, because he was making a playlist for his grandma of all the closing songs so she could kind of come up with her list. So
awesome.
That's all. The fact that he gets his grandma into this band and like involved in the show a little bit is the coolest thing ever, man. Yeah. So Grant has this at number 1, Trial of Tears. That is a beautiful choice. Your grand's very, very smart lady. Nice and mellow, great soloing, and a great JM lyric to boot. Only 3 go ahead of it for me. This is an awesome track, though. There you go. JG3. Half of Losing Time is 1 note, literally. Like, it's a great note, Jay. All right, what do you want, man?
So I want to set a scene for you here. We're talking about grandmas and music. So it's 1985.
Okay.
My grandma and grandpa have since passed away. Lived on a farm. It was always awesome to go visit the farm. Okay. So when I got old enough to drive, it was a 2-hour drive. My mom would always just have me drive, and I would have my Walkman in, and my metal going. So I get there, and my grandma's like, "Oh, well, what are you listening to?" So I pull the headphones off. Here, Grandma, check this out. This is a song by Kiss. It's called "Thrills in the Night." So I had my Maxell tape. I'd taped the album Animalize, on there, and
right.
She's like, she takes it off. She's like, I really don't mind it so much, but I don't know how you can have it so darn loud. So my grandma was on record as being being hip to Animalize by Kiss. So also to piggyback on, I actually do have at number 4, Trial of Tears.
All right.
So yeah, I love this. You really, I think more than any other album that since we kind of did this. Well, maybe 6 Degrees too, but yeah, I really have a new appreciation for Falling Into Infinity. And I love this song. I
As
love
you
like
should.
it's just this song is just a giant nod to Xanadu. I mean, the beginning of it, like
Right.
that's Xanadu by Rush 101, and then it almost ventures over into, you get a little bit of the Power Windows era Rush with some of the synth stuff going on behind it here and there, and then it's like, I don't know, it's like full on fusion stuff kind of by the end of it.
Okay.
And it's just, man, it's just a great song that I admit I slept and dropped the ball on for 20 plus years, and I feel dumb almost now, but man, what a great song.
Yeah, I definitely love it. I've been studying this one because that's one of the ones that I'm going to be singing in a few months.
Nice.
So that middle part, oh God, it's high. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I may not get through it. So we'll see. If I sound like I'm trying too hard, you won't hear that version of it. But yeah, Talking Into Infinity is my favorite record. Trial of Tears is my all-time favorite Dream Theater song. And I agree with everything that you said. Look, Greg Dundor, Trial of Tears is my 11. Don't ban me, please. I'm hovering over the block user button, dude. Just kidding. I only ban those porn bots in here. I don't mind people having, dissenting opinions. That is totally fine. All right, so my number 4 is Only a Matter of Time from When Dream and Day Unite. I love that record. I love that song as a closer. I completely agree with you. It kind of like hints at what's to come. I think it's one of the more polished songs on that album. It really set the stage also for that kind of Dream Theater. Like, here's this big, majestic slab of greatness to close this record out type of thing that, it would come on later albums. Like, for me, like, Losing Time, Grand Finale has that kind of feel to it. The end of In the Presence of Enemies Part 2 has that, and obviously the ones that I have coming up, represent that as well. But I think this really kind of set it up very well. So, I did. I called them Talking Into Infinity again. Damn it. I'm so used to doing that. All right. Falling Into Infinity. Sorry. God damn. What is wrong with me? I've done that.
Let's have a fan contest. Let's redesign the album cover and call it Talking Into Infinity. See what we come up with. I'll Photoshop something.
I was to say, who knows Photoshop? So, all right. So, Only a Matter of Time. All right. So, we are now in your top 3, and I still have 2 of yours remaining. So you still have all 3 of your guesses for my top 3 alive. Do I have that right?
No, I didn't tell you earlier because I was gonna.
All right. So which one did you think was in my top 3?
I had Count of Tuscany in there, which probably, looking back on it, was dumb.
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean,
I got 2 of the others I got though. So
okay, yeah, I've got 2 of yours.
No, wait, I just missed.
Okay,
I missed that one. I was doing kale math. Sorry. It's gonna be a joke the whole show.
It totally is. Man,
sorry, Kale.
Man.
It's all in fun. We love you, man.
Yeah. Besides, now Kale's got one on me because I called the damn album "Talking Into Infinity" again. So
great.
All right. So your number 3. What do
I
you
got?
have?
Learning to Live.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, there goes my guess for your number 1. All right.
Yeah, I mean, the quintessential closer to the quintessential Dream Theater album of all time, and one of the greatest albums of all time.
Yep. I don't think
there's a reason why you thought I should put it at 1, which I probably should have. Thinking about it now, but yeah, I got it sitting there at 3.
Okay. Yeah. There's nothing absolutely at all wrong with that song. It's basically perfect. I'll save my notes until look, Sarcasmo asks Holy, we did not count the Change of Seasons EP. He says number 2 off Change of Seasons, the big medley, great live closer.
I did ask you about that though, because I was like, I would have put it way down there. It's a medley of covers and whatever, which is fine.
It's the Ronnie Scott's gig. So yeah. All right. So my number 3, pardon me, is Octavarium. And this is a song that just continues to grow on me the more and more time goes by. Again, it could be score bias for me again. but I don't think that it is, because I really think that this is just a fantastic song. And again, I keep getting into it more and more the more times that I listen to it. It's kind of like the opposite of Illumination Theory. Like the more I listen to Illumination Theory, I pick it apart more, whereas Octavarium just gets better and better for me. So I just love this song. And I think all the different, like I said about Illumination Theory, it's like it doesn't come together for me. It just seems like parts stuck together. Whereas Octavarium, I think the parts blend perfectly. Like going into like like that transition just works great. And then, going into the end of it, that's all big. And again, this just ends the album on such an incredible, huge, just massive piece of music that just, it feels like the end. And you pictured Petrucci holding out a note and waving to the crowd, and it's just it's quintessential for me. It's quintessential Dream Theater closing material. So I have Octavarium at number 3.
Yeah, I bet if we did a fan poll, and let's try to get a decent amount of number, let's say we got 500 people, I bet that 75 to 80% would have that top 3. I think that's probably a given, don't you, or no?
I would say so.
Yeah,
I would say so.
And I got absolutely murdered for having it at 5.
That's funny. All right, so CMS Network says, in all seriousness, I don't know how to say I like parts of a song, in quotes, with Dream Theater. So whatever part is around the 10-minute mark of In the Presence of Enemies from Systematic Chaos would be my part. So that's actually that's in part 2. I think. It's like the really dark part. How long is the first one? The first part? I don't know. The whole thing's like 20 minutes long. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like the dark part of, part 2. So good call there. Good call there. All right. Your number 2.
This one floored me. I kept moving this song all over the place. I put Finally Free.
Wow.
So this is my reasoning. I think there's a holy trinity of concept albums. Okay. Scenes from a Memory, Operation Mindcrime, and then Chicken and Beer by Ludacris. Those are the 3. I think the 3 best.
By the way, I've got your
got the Mindcrime on. Yeah,
I do.
Because especially the Ludacris, because it covers both chicken and beer. It's not just one or the other. But no, I really think those are 2. Joking aside, those are like 2 of the. I don't know what's a better. I mean, maybe you might say The Astonishing, because I know you love that album. But I'll still say Scenes from Memory is a better record. But I think like Scenes from a Memory is like man, is that just like almost like a songwriter's clinic? Like, forget about the whole progressive aspect and how good of players they are. Just the songs. Like, the songs are just, I don't know, they're just great. Like, the melodies are great. Like, they're so well formed. To me, it's almost like they're Sergeant Peppers in a way. Like, I don't know. It's just
okay.
I know it's not remotely the same type of a thing at all, but it's just such a song oriented, and it flows. And I really floored myself by putting this way up there. I don't know. I love it. I love the ending and all the crazy dramatic stuff that happens, and then the guys talking and stuff start it and end it. And
right.
I love the piano stuff in there. Like everything on this album, when it's piano and acoustic guitar, is just like gold,
Yeah. So
yeah, I put it up there all the way at number 2. That one floored me more than any of the ones I ended up doing.
Look at this. Wayne, our buddy Wayne Joyner, good to see you, man. He says, Learning to Live is his best closer, and Trial of Tears is a close second. Well, you tuned in at a great time, because my number 2 is Trial of Tears. As I said earlier, that is my favorite Dream Theater song, and it's on my favorite Dream Theater record. I don't think I really need to go into more detail than that. It's just beautiful. I love that song. I love the vibe of it. I love the feel. The understated busyness at some of the parts, I should say, is I've always just loved it. Some of the drums, like, the double time hi-hat stuff that Portnoy's doing, I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's Trial of Tears is my number 2. And while we did not pick the same number 1, I'm not surprised at your number 1, which is
Count of Tuscany.
There it is.
Yeah. And I guess maybe a little bit in hindsight, it's definitely more for the song than maybe the ending of the album. But as we said, it's a disjointed kind of album anyway, so something's got to end it. So it's probably, no matter what you end it with, it's not going to feel like a closing type of a song anyway. So
yeah,
why not end with a just absolute killer 19-minute and 54 seconds or whatever it is of gigantic prog melodic greatness,
Yep. It's hard to argue with the Count of Tuscany, man. But again, as I said in my notes, that was the start of where it got difficult for me. Great song, but it's kind of the ones that I had ahead of it. Like, you have it at number 1, I have it at number 8, and I just thought that as album closers, the other ones were, they just worked better for me as closers. Yeah, I was torn with your number 1 and number 2 because I wanted to lean towards Count of Tuscany, but then I thought about it in terms of an actual album closer, and I know how much you love Learning to Live. So I actually had guessed that you would put Learning to Live as your number 1, which you did not, but that's okay. I came in to save the day for Learning to Live, and it is my number 1. So the reason I put it up above Trial of Tears is because I think it is the perfect album closer. It's the best one that Dream Theater's done, in my opinion. I think this song, something about it, like, I don't know if this analogy will make sense, but it's always felt like the Big Brother song to all the other songs on Images and Words. It just feels a little more mature, a little more. I don't even know how to. It just seems a little bit more mature than the other songs, and especially when you end with that huge high James vocal, at the end and stuff, and it's just, anytime they play it live, it just sounds fantastic, and oh
yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah,
it's
amazing,
huge.
Amazing song. I only got, so you got 2 of my 3. I only got 1 for you, Trial of Tears. I had Matter of Time for you, but you picked it 4th, so I was pretty close on that.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
And then I had, like I said, I had Tuscany up there too, which probably in hindsight was kind of dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Look at this. So the CMS Network, we are a member of the CMS Network. My buddy Aiken says, by the way, just wanted to tell you boys congrats that your episode of the best opening songs has over 1,400 downloads on Anchor. Glad to have the show on the CMS Network definitely finding its footing. That's awesome. Thanks, man. And thanks for letting us know. And definitely thanks to all the 1,400 people that downloaded it. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Man, that is awesome. Look at this. All right, so Stephen Engel, got to take this with a grain of salt because he's a Steeler fan. As a fan of all eras and albums, I do not like Octavarium. I can't explain it. I can't explain why. It just doesn't do it for me. And see, now correct me if I'm wrong, Steven, but me and you completely disagree on this one, and we completely disagree on Illumination Theory, because that one, you really, really like that one. And that was my second to last.
I can see why people don't like Octavarium. I don't know that I can necessarily explain it, but I can see why even hardcore fans are like, yeah, I don't know about this.
Yep, there he is. He said it in the comments up above. I would have to say that while Metropolis Part 2 is a masterpiece, I think as an album, Mind Crime is actually better overall. Boy, is that a sideshow to discuss.
I would actually agree with that. You can't top Operation Mind Crime, man. That set the bar so high. Like it. No,
it is my number 3 album of all time, my favorites. But
oh, really?
Hey, it's the 2 most influential records ever for me are 1984, Van Halen, obviously, and then And Justice for All. And if I have a number 3, it's Mind Crime. Nice. It's not so much influential, but just in terms of like favorite. So, and he says, I stand by the Illumination Theory is and always will be the best. Oh my God.
Well, so we had one good comment and one terrible one.
Yeah.
So I actually got to see. Did you see? I saw the tour where the Justice tour where Queensryche opened.
Oh my
That
God,
was
you lucky
amazing, man.
bastard.
Yeah, that
So you
was
got to see
awesome.
Metallica basically at their peak before
Yep.
they started going more commercial, and you got to see the Mindcrime record in its entirety as well.
Yeah, and
Whew.
I saw him right before Cliff passed away too, because I saw the Master of Puppets with Ozzy.
God, man, my brother
So
saw that one too.
yeah,
Wow,
those are two
that's
incredible shows, of course. But
all right. So this is I want to ask you this question real quick, off topic, Brian, and we'll get back to Dream Theater. So CMS Network Aiken wants to know, the Crimson Idol is right there with Mindcrime. I highly, highly disagree with that. I tried listening to the Crimson Idol, and I'm like, I don't get it. Why is this legendary? I didn't understand the whole.
I've checked it out a few times. I'm not familiar with it enough. I know a lot of people absolutely love that album. I think Blackie Lawless is extremely talented and very underrated. There's a lot of really cool Wasp stuff.
Yep.
So, but I don't
Yeah,
think that's not a crazy opinion. There's a ton of people that love that album.
Yeah, I
obviously.
was like, man, I don't understand. But all right, so let's see. So Sarcasmo Assholio says Octavarium is a grower and a shower.
I think that's shower.
Shower, yeah. A grower and a shower. Nick Brayman, he says Octavarium was a grower for me and really grew on me after seeing it live. Yeah, I would say that's a good take because that happened to me too. I liked it on the record, but then seeing it live, I was kind of like, whoa. You kind of, but I think there's a lot of stuff like that. So
what was I wrote down some questions I wanted to ask. So what was the hardest one to rank for you? Well, I already said mine was View from a Top.
ooh. I don't know that there was one that was.
What's one that you moved around a whole bunch or
well,
like,
I dropped scene 9 several spots.
yeah.
Honestly, I dropped the Astonishing a bunch too because I remember liking it more than I did. I mean, it's a good song, but then when I had to put it through the prism of album closer, I was like,
Right.
man. You know what I would say? I would say maybe Losing Time grand finale because
Yeah.
I love the vibe of the whole thing, but I just couldn't bump it up higher. I mean, I have it 5, so that's, in the top third, but I also kind of listened to it. I could see why somebody would have it low. Like, I have it at number 5.
I put it
and you have it at 11.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that one was hard to rank. At one point I think I had it like 6.
Yeah, that's just a goofy one, man. So
yeah.
I mean, what did you say yours was the difficulty that you had?
The hardest one was View from a Top, and I knew that going in. Like I knew. I guess I almost took the easy way out. It's sitting right in the middle. You put yours a lot lower, but
Yeah.
I think it was kind of an easy way to sort of stick it in the middle there.
Right.
But I almost can guarantee you, in 3 years from now, we did this list. I bet I would put it up the top 5, and then probably kick Octavarium out, and then get yelled at again. Or maybe I'd kick Finally Free out.
Yeah. Well, again, Kale kicked out an entire record, so he says, so which album doesn't exist again? Like, Kale, I don't. Did you have Only a Matter of Time, Kale? Because if you did, then I don't know which one of the you missed of the 14 after that. So,
which album doesn't exist again?
Yeah, exactly. That's so good, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I got to tell you, Stephen Engel, man, Illumination Theory, you may love it as your number 1. Illumination Theory is a gorilla fart where I'm concerned. That's what we learned tonight. We learned about gorilla farts. Oh my God. All right, so Kale says he had Only a Matter of Time was 5th. All right, so what did you miss? You're going to have to go through your own list, Kale. I can't be scrolling through the comments here. That's crazy. How did you miss one? All right. Look at the Sarcasmo Asshole is going to get his ass banned. Trial of Tears is great because the rest of the album sucks. Whatever. Blow me. Yeah, please. There are way worse records than Falling Into Infinity. You are crazy, man.
So just I decided to look it up. This is great radio too, by the way.
Yeah.
Gorilla Fart. This says it says 151 and Yukon Jack, but this one here says it's 3 ingredients. So what's the third one?
Oh,
I don't know.
that sounds awful. At least you would think the Jägermeister would give it some kind of flavor.
Yeah, this
Yukon
isn't
Jack
right.
and-
Now this one says vodka, Bacardi, and banana liqueur. That's actually going to make it so you can actually drink it, which is not the whole point. It's supposed to be so bad you don't even want to.
JG3, you're about to get on the band train too. He says, Falling Into Infinity, more like falling into Garbaggio. Dude, man, why do people hate on that record? I've never understood it. I just don't get it. I mean, we'll get into that when we do the album deep dive, but
I thought we already did that one.
No, we haven't done that. I've purposely not done your favorite album, my favorite album.
Oh.
So anyway, I guess, that about, wraps it up for tonight. But, speaking of favorite records, in 2 weeks, we are going to have our big double episode for Images and Words. We are going to do our deep dive into the record, and we are also going to have an interview with Monty Colvin from the Galactic Cowboys. They toured with Dream Theater during the Images and Words tour and were with them as the record was blowing up because of the success of Pull Me Under. So we kind of want to get his views on what it was like to tour with the guys before and as they started really becoming, kind of like a mainstream known kind of a thing. So that should be pretty cool, man. That's going to be a little bit longer of an episode, but go ahead and get your hot takes regarding Images and Words ready to go. Hopefully JG3 is there and Sarcasmos Holio. I still have to determine whether or not they're banned for crapping on my favorite record, Falling Into Infinity. But yeah, so that'll be on the 16th. It'll be our big double episode for Images and Words, and then 1 week after that, so we're not going 2 weeks at that point, we're doing 1 week. On December 23rd, we will be doing our big fan hangout. So we're going to talk about anything you guys want. If you want to be on camera with us, just shoot us an email at talkingintoinfinity@gmail.com, and we'll send you guys a link during the show. You can jump on and, be on camera, talk about whatever the heck you want, ask questions, whatever. It's going to be a blast, man. That's going to be a really good time. Obviously, the holidays will be, following day will be Christmas Eve, so we'll be all festive and everything like that. Knowing me, I'll probably end up drunk on that show. So, this was fun, man. I love these ranking episodes because it gets pretty difficult, and it's interesting to see where we have things. Stuff like, Viper King. I had it, at 10, or excuse me, at 9, and you had it last. You had C9 Finally Free at I had it at 10, you had it at number 2. So it's always always good. Nick Brayman, can't wait for the hangout show and tossing back some gorilla farts. I really want to find out what that is and mix one on the air. Like, it just see if I can find the single shots of what that stuff is, and just be like, all right, this is an actual gorilla fart. Like,
you'll be sick for a day.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So yeah, well, thanks again, man. This is a blast. I can't wait to do it again in a couple weeks. And don't forget, everybody, we are here live every other Thursday, so our next show will be December 16th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, and the cmsnetwork.com. You can find video replays on Heavy Metal Television and our YouTube channel, and you can download audio versions of the podcast. I usually have those up no more than 2 hours after we get off of our live shows. So if you want to just check it out on the audio platforms, just go ahead and Google us. And Brian, I think definitely one more time we got to thank everybody, because that stat about 1,400 downloads on that episode that's crazy, man. That's huge. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's totally awesome, man. All you guys that every week that are on or downloading or telling people about it. I mean, anytime we can get more people listening, whether it's download or live show, it's just amazing. And it's fun to do this for ourselves, but it's more fun when everyone's interacting into it. It makes it just a blast. I look forward to it every time.
Yep, I do too, and I completely agree with you. I know we say it pretty much every show, but having people live in the chat and goofing off and stuff like that is a lot of fun. Even if they're hating on my favorite record or goofing around with us, like it's always a good time. So yeah, thanks guys, and we will see you on December 16th for our big double Images and Words episode. Catch you later, guys. Carpe diem.